Q3 stats briefing through Zoom this time for a change, although it's a change for these stats briefing, but it's not a change for all of us. I'm very much aware of that. We're all getting used to these Zoom calls. My name is Steve Wood. I'm the Chief Executive at NHBC, and I'll be going through a presentation on our stats. And I'm accompanied by Diane Marshall, who I'll introduce in a moment. She's also from NHBC. We didn't do a Q2 version of this stats session, but for obvious reasons, which I think we'll come to around COVID-19. But you're very much welcome today, whether you're in the office or I suspect most of you are dialing in from home. Very welcome both new attendees and regular attendees. As we go through, you can please either use put your hand up using that function, or just jump in if you wish to ask a question, but there will be a time for questions and answers at the end as well. Okay, if we go to the next slide, please. Just a reminder around protocols, I'm probably patronizing everybody now, but please stay on mute unless you wish to ask a question, then come off. The presentation is being recorded. And as I said, there's scope for questions as we go through and a question and answer session after the formal presentation. And no tweeting, please. And the press release, which I think you may have, or we're sending to you, is available. Sorry, it's available after the briefing. Yeah, that's embargoed until tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. 1 minute past midnight. We want to issue it then. Next slide, please. So, as I said, Diane Marshall joining me. Diane is Operations Director at NHBC. So Diane's across our building inspectors, our surveyors and engineers, and our technical teams, which includes our major projects, and also across standards, innovation, and research, where you pick up such as modern methods of construction, and also what we issue through the NHBC Foundation, our research panel, which I'll also touch on. And Diane will join me for the Q&A at the end, and may contribute as we go through, but she'll be speaking after I've gone through the stats. Okay. So just a reminder, a similar slide has been used before for people who have previously on this sort of briefing, but it's a useful reminder for those who perhaps may be less familiar with NHBC. We were set up in 1936, and our mission is to build confidence in the construction quality of new homes. That is our purpose. We're the leading warranty and insurance provider for new homes in the UK, with about 75 to 80% of the market, and around 1.5 million homes covered on NHBC warranty. And that's because it's a product that lasts for around 10 years, with the structural warranty element being for years 3 to 10. We're non-profit distributing, not a not-for-profit organization, i.e. we're not a charity, we're non-profit distributing, so we don't have shareholders, and we're independent of government and the house building industry. Because of our long history and our depth of involvement in the new build housing market, we do have unrivaled expertise, data, and also other services, including training, to support the builders who register with us and their mission to improve the quality of new homes. We also work very closely with government, which will come to life a bit more in Dan's slot, I know, in terms of helping them develop policy and regulations. What our objective there is to try to turn government's policy intent into outcomes that are commercially and technically viable. Sometimes that is quite a challenge, but we strive to get there. And we have, as I touched on, we have a foundation which does in-depth research and issues guidance to support the industry. In fact, we recently issued a publication on, if I can just find it for a moment. Yeah, on the future of home heating, life without fossil fuels. And that's very relevant to the zero carbon agenda and future home standards, which Diane will touch on in her slot. And we'd be happy to send that report to anybody who wishes it after the call. Next slide, please. So in terms, just a reminder on the stats, they are a leading indicator of activity in the new build housing sector, and not least because of our coverage and market share and the number of builders we deal with. It does help build that broad picture of the market, and I will go through some longer term trends as well as the more recent months and quarters where we've had some quite dramatic movements driven by the pandemic we're all dealing with and working through. So next slide, please. So on registrations, first of all. So a registration is when a registered builder confirms to NHBC that they wish to register plots with us. That is then an intention to build on a site, and we receive fees and income at that point. So for the year, and that's different from register, and registrations are slightly different from starts. So that's when the builder will actually start work on the plot. And also completions, which are when the house has been completed just prior to any finishing and handover to a new homeowner. So on the registrations, for this year, the 9 months to September, they are 30% down on last year at just over 83,000. Completions are also 30% down compared to last year at 76,154. Again, that's for the 9 months. And I'm not seeing the full slide here. I don't know if others are not seeing it, but for the quarter, For the quarter, registrations, we've definitely seen a pickup in particularly completions, but also registrations. And I'll show some quarterly splits and indeed the monthly figures within that. But for the quarter, the third quarter, the 3 months, July, August, September, registrations were down 25% compared to the equivalent quarter last year, just under 30,000, and completions down 4%. At just over 33,000. And it's unsurprising that the completions are leading registrations because builders have been working hard to post the lockdown announcement on the 23rd of March, when more or less everything ceased within the next 2 weeks. When they came back on site, they worked hard to operate in a COVID-secure way and to the social distancing protocols and practices that then required. And they've now got productivity back up to very close to the levels we saw pre-lockdown.